Today we're going to talk about some of the pros and some of the cons of living in Maryland. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This channel is all about helping Maryland families realize their dream of home ownership, so make sure you subscribe to stay current in my latest content. I've lived in Maryland my entire life, and I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion about what are some of the benefits and great things about living here in Maryland, and honestly, what are some of the downfalls also about living here in Maryland. So on the pro side, I say one of the positive things about living in Maryland is that there are a lot of jobs, and there's a lot of good jobs here in Maryland. Since we are right outside of Washington, D.C., there are a tremendous amount of government jobs in Maryland and also in D.C. that you can commute to. We're kind of unique in that we don't have just one big city, we actually have two big cities. We have Baltimore and then D.C. right here. All right, so let's jump over and give you one con. With all the great government jobs here, we have a lot of traffic, and traffic is a pain in the neck sometimes. Again, because we have two major cities, we have Baltimore and we have DC, and we have a lot of people who live in the suburbs kind of between and around these two big cities, and they commute into the cities. And it's a major challenge, and you have to adapt to it and plan your day accordingly. So back on the positive sides, Maryland has a ton of beautiful national parks. Maryland is actually called Little America because of how diverse we are geographically. You know, Maryland goes all the way to the ocean. We have a bunch of beautiful parks out there like Assateague Island. And Maryland also stretches all the way out to the Appalachian Mountains with western and northern Maryland as well. And we've got some gorgeous state parks and national parks here in Maryland for you to explore. So if you're into hiking and camping or just exploring, we have tons and tons of parks here in Maryland for you to have fun in. Okay, back on the con side, Maryland does have pretty high property taxes relative to the rest of the country. And actually both Maryland and Virginia have pretty high property taxes. And I do get a lot of people very shocked by that when they first come here. So yeah, it is kind of a pain in the neck. I hate seeing all that money going out the door every year when I file my taxes. But there are a lot of benefits to living in Maryland, and high property taxes is one of the costs of living here. All right, back on the positive side, we have a lot of museums here in Maryland. Again, since we're right next to the Capitol, we have a lot of national museums here. We have the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural Art. We have the Walters Art Museum. And we also have the National Aquarium up in Baltimore, which is an awesome place to explore. I literally go there like once a year with my family. So back on the con side, we have high property values here in Maryland relative to the rest of America. But keep in mind, we have high property values, but we also have a lot of those high-paying government jobs, and that's kind of why. Now, we do obviously have areas in Maryland that are more rural, and you can get affordable housing in southern Maryland and northern Maryland, in eastern shore of Maryland. But again, anywhere that is within commuting distance of Baltimore or DC, property values are pretty high. I think the average home value is about $320,000 here in Maryland. Back to the positive sides, we have a lot of beautiful beaches here in Maryland. We have beaches on the ocean front, which is Ocean City and Assateague Island, which is an awesome state park. And on the Chesapeake Bay, we also have a lot of beaches as well. We have Chesapeake Beach, which is in Calvert County. And we also have Sandy Point State Park, which is just outside of Annapolis, right next to the Bay Bridge. So if you're into that whole beach scene and you like swimming and fishing and boating and all that stuff, Maryland's a great option for you. We have a bunch of beautiful beaches for you to explore. Back on the negative side, we have the Bay Bridge. So I'm putting this on the negative side because one, a lot of people are really scared of the Bay Bridge. I literally grew up on Kent Island, which is right on the other side of the Bay Bridge, so I've been over that bridge at least 1,000 times in my life, and I actually enjoy it. I like the view from it. It's a gorgeous view of Kent Island and Annapolis and the Chesapeake Bay. There's a lot of people get really freaked out about that bridge. Another negative aspect of that bridge is that we have Ocean City traffic here. So during Fridays in the summer months, we have a lot of people leaving DC and Baltimore after work, and they're all heading to Ocean City, Maryland, and they all kind of bottleneck right there at the Bay Bridge. And you see huge backups on Route 50 right before the Bay Bridge, going miles sometimes. And it's a real pain in the neck if you're just trying to get home from work or something, or trying to go out and have fun. So back to the positive side is that we kind of have two NFL teams here that you can root for. So obviously, Marylanders, we love the Baltimore Ravens. That's who most people here in Maryland root for, is Baltimore Ravens. But as you get closer to DC here in Maryland, you see a lot more burgundy and gold, and you see a lot more people rooting for the Redskins. So it's really up to you. If you want to root for the Redskins, you want to root for the Baltimore Ravens, you know, you can find your little niches and little pockets here in Maryland. So it's time for the question of the day. What do you guys think are some of the pros and cons of living here in Maryland? I'm really curious to know. Leave your answer down in the comment section below this video. And if you're thinking about moving to Maryland, I've got a whole video over here about 10 things to know before moving to Maryland. So make sure you click over here to watch that, and don't forget to subscribe for more great Maryland content.